It's Wrestling Uncensored. We're previewing WWE Crown Jewel and other wrestling things. We got a variety tonight, right, John? Got a variety of things to get to. Crown Jewel preview. Nature Boy Ric Flair signed a multi-year contract in AEW. His doctors say he's cleared to take bumps. People are speculating what that means. I'm speculating. The world is speculating. And Bryan Danielson is injured. We got a lot of news going around in the world of professional wrestling. Welcome, everybody, to the show, whether you're joining us live or, after. We're going to get you ready for Crown Jewel. WWE Crown Jewel, 1 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, Saturday afternoon, November the 4th, live in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It's Riyadh season. I don't know if you knew that, John, but apparently it is Riyadh season. I learned that last week watching Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou. They were promoting hashtag Riyadh season. And, of course, we are back in Riyadh this weekend on the Ringside Report Network watching WWE Crown Jewel. Last week it was Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou for the heavyweight boxing something. And this week it is Roman Reigns and LA Knight for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. We also have Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul. Logan Paul back in the mix. Cody Rhodes versus Damian Priest. John Cena, your favorite, versus Solo Sikoa. Io Sky taking on Bianca Belair. Rhea Ripley defending her championship as well against Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez. Seth freaking Rollins, if you want to be proper, defending his World Heavyweight Championship against Drew McIntyre. And just announced, I know everybody's very excited for this, on the pre-show. It's supposed to start at noon, the pre-show, so this is going to be quite a marathon. Sami Zayn, Laval's own, takes on J.D. McDonuts. So that'll be great. Everybody's so excited for J.D. McDonuts matches. God damn, you see what Pentagon just did? Whoa.
I did.
That was crazy.
It's been a crazy match so far.
Did he just kill those guys? Are they dead? Pentagon is wrestling. Sorry, what?
I think more so Commander, on that one, it looked like.
Yeah, Commander looked like he gory specialed Hijo del Vikingo and what do you call that pile driver?
Package pile driver?
Package pile driver to Commander on the ring apron. This is a pretty crazy match. It's Pentagon versus Hijo del Vikingo versus Commander in a triple threat on AEW Rampage, kicking off this show. Whoa.
And it might be for the AAA championship, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah? That move Penta just hit was pretty sweet, too.
It was like a F5 into a power slam.
Yeah, I should have been paying closer attention because as soon as I started paying attention, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
As it picked it up.
It's been kind of crazy.
That didn't quite work. We're watching AEW Rampage, by the way, if you don't know what the hell we're talking about. AEW Rampage is going on right now. And we're watching that. So there's a lot going on. The Nature Boy. Woo! There you go, Jimmy James. Get excited about Ric Flair, why don't you?
Well, I saw on Twitter you and our buddy Andy from the other his Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. You guys seem to be in a bit of debate about if Flair should be wrestling or not. I don't think you're so much in that you want to see Flair wrestle. I think it's like there's money there, so why not? That's what it sounds like anyways.
Yeah.
And I understand Andy's point of view where it's like, he didn't say it, but Flair has a pacemaker. I mean, that goes in the wrong place somewhere, that's it's game over there. So that's not good.
He wrestled
Even if
with
the
it
doctors
before.
say it's okay. He did, and he like faked a heart attack, which I don't know if it was the best idea in the world because a lot
Not
of
the
people were
first
scared
time.
there.
Not the first time in his career he did that. Did it in WCW too when he was in his 40s or whatever. 50s maybe.
Yep, it was in that range. Yeah,
Yeah.
but now it's scary, and it's only going to get more scary. I think. I don't know. Like, I'm not really for it, but I could, like you say, I could see it happen because there's a market for it.
Yeah.
I think people would be interested in it. It needs to be a tag match. It definitely cannot be a singles.
Uh-huh. But,
So we'll wait and see.
you know, like I just saw a lot of people very upset about Ric Flair signing a contract with AEW, and people had a lot of strong opinions about Ric Flair and not wanting to see him at all or see him in the ring or anything. And, I understand. And I understand people have a problem with Ric Flair for various reasons.
Right.
You know, the dark side of the ring did him no favors when the whole story about him flashing his genitals to that poor flight attendant who seemed quite disturbed by the whole incident, you know, like that did not paint Ric Flair in a very good light. But, I mean, what the hell do you expect from the Nature Boy Ric Flair? Like, these are stories that he tells himself. Like, when I heard her, she was like, and then Ric Flair came out in his robe, and I'm like, well, I know he's going to stick his dick out. I've heard him talk about this a million times. Like, he does the helicopter. He spins it around, you know? Everybody, you know, if you pay attention to Ric Flair, if you've studied his career like I have, like most hardcore pro wrestling people have, you kind of know stories about Nature Boy, right? Like, I'm not surprised about any of that. So I guess people are surprised, and then they're like, oh, my God, we got to cancel Ric Flair. And I'm like, well, these stories have been out here. I don't know why no one's canceled him yet. It's just kind of, you know, if you're going to cancel Ric Flair, and that's, again, the problem. If you're going to cancel Ric Flair, you got to cancel pretty much everybody that wrestled in the 80s or 90s. Go back and watch some of the promos that The Rock cut in the 90s. The guy was a little kumsi kumsa. That was one of his catchphrases. I mean, The Rock said a lot of things that were pretty rude and crude on television. Go back and see what Chris Jericho used to call Stephanie McMahon. You want to talk about rude things about women? I mean, of course, Ric Flair, what he did is a little bit further than that. But you want to cancel Stone Cold Steve Austin, too? You know, I mean, he beat up Deborah. And, like, there's a lot of people that you could cancel in the history of professional wrestling, a lot of very important figures, but that kind of goes with the territory. The wrestling business is a weird and wild place. And if you've been around it, you kind of know that. And it's uncomfortable at times if you're not a weird and wild person in that way and you don't really, you know, if that's not your vibe, it could be awkward. But to just give up on the Nature Boy Ric Flair and say, he can't be around. I mean, he's the Nature Boy Ric Flair. He's 74 years old. He's drunk 24/7. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And he's had a rough life. He's been in plane crashes. His childhood, he was stolen as a baby. You know that story? He was adopted, but apparently, like, his parents... It's a weird story about how Ric Flair came to be. He told it recently, right? Wasn't Ric Flair stolen as a child?
I think he wrote in his book, if I'm not mistaken. But I find the greatest sadness is like his son dying at like I believe the young age of 20 or maybe even 19. That was very hard. You could tell that hurt Rick a lot. Still to this day, I think.
Yeah, he was stolen from his birth mother in like a black market operation that happened. Apparently, like 5,000 kids were stolen in Tennessee. He's had a weird, difficult life. And to just say he did this wrong and he's bad is difficult for me to deal with. Because, like, yeah, he is not perfect, but he is the Nature Boy Ric Flair. You know, he's still like a pretty important figure in pro wrestling. And I get if you don't want to hang out with him and you don't want to necessarily celebrate him yourself, and that's fine as a personal choice. But in a pro wrestling context, you got to understand how much he means. Don't buy a Ric Flair t-shirt. Don't buy the Woo energy drink or whatever the hell he's selling these days. Right?
Right.
But to say, well, Ric Flair has no place in pro wrestling is a little odd to me. I don't know why people are so, attacking Ric Flair and also saying that he shouldn't wrestle. If he wants to wrestle, I just kind of feel bad for him because I've heard him talk about the last match that he had and how he was dehydrated and he was trying to stay at a certain weight and he just kind of psyched himself out and he wasn't at 100%, that he had done preparation and done, workout matches getting ready for it, and he was way better than what he gave. And as a guy who gave to the pro wrestling business and has performed at a very high level, I feel for the guy to have to go out on a performance where, he thinks he could have done way better, and he knows if he would have changed a couple things, it would have been a different show. And his last match looked terrible, and he knows that. And he, I think, wants to rectify that. I don't think AEW is going to do it. They might. But people seem mad. Well,
I think another point to bring up is the fact that drew very well, too, for just like a random pay-per-view. Wasn't really done by WWE, AEW. Apparently the numbers were very good for that. And I'm not surprised Flair came back to wrestling in some capacity. It made a lot of sense. If he has something to offer, like, let him do it. And the whole idea with Sting, it makes a lot of sense. And multi-year, I'm very surprised by that because now it's like, wow, I don't know what's going to happen with Charlotte now. Because if she beats the record, like, her dad's not going to be there. Or if he's there, it's going to be like, well, we're going to have to pan away because we don't want to show him on television in the crowd or whatever, So
I don't know. I don't know about that. I think he's a big enough figure that they could show him on TV even if he's showing up in AEW every week. Because he's Ric Flair, because he's that important. Like, maybe don't give him a live mic, but have him, like, I think he could be in the ring hugging Charlotte if she breaks the record. And multi-year, what does that mean? It could be in 2 years, Who knows?
I think they were saying 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken. That's a long time, man. That's a long time.
I'm not going to say I'm not going to say what we're all thinking, John, but 3 or 4 years. I mean,
well, I'm going again thinking on Charlotte and beating the record. I mean, if she's going to beat that record, it's got to be within the next 3 or 4 years, no? Like, and the amount that she wrestles, she takes breaks every now and then too. So,
was Flair even on Dynamite this week?
He was not.
So why was I seeing so many people mad? Oh, because AEW announced they signed him to a multi-year contract, and that's why people were mad about Ric Flair. I just kept seeing on Twitter, like, people mad about Ric Flair this, Ric Flair that, and I was like, hey, man, it's the Nature Boy Ric Flair. If he wants to have a wrestling match, what are you mad about? Who cares? Because he showed his penis to a bunch of ladies? I mean, yeah, that's not cool. But, goddamn, it's again, there's a lot of people to cancel. And people are like, he's too old to wrestle. And I went back and I looked at just a few guys. Terry Funk, Ric Flair's 74 years old, right? Terry Funk's last match, he was 73. 2017. 73 years old. Okay?
Wow.
Jerry Lawler is 73. I know he had a stroke after his last match, but he had a match in January, had a stroke in February, but we've seen the King kick out of worse. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised if he wrestled again at 75, at 80. You know what I mean? Jerry Lawler will wrestle forever.
He'll wrestle, but I mean, the matches, I don't think he's bumping really.
Well, no, but
it's a very safe match.
Yeah. But this is what people don't understand. You don't have to bump. You don't have to go through a table. You don't have to do anything. You throw a couple punches. Even if you get hit with a punch, you go down to one knee. You get hit with another punch, you fall down on your side. There's no bump there. And then you just lay down. It's not that hard to do. Everybody could do it.
Right. But I could see Flair. He's got to do his spots, you know?
Sure, he might do a couple of them, but he knows like he can't do everything. He's not taking a backdrop anymore. He said he's not taking the backdrop anymore.
Well, he shouldn't. But I could see him. He's going to try to do the whole over-the-top rope thing. And that could be rough.
I mean, the guy wrestled 60 minutes every night for a good chunk of his career. He was in incredible shape. He's a hell of an athlete.
Yep.
You know?
Again, he has a lot more to offer. And I'm like, I'm very intrigued by him and MJF. He wants to do a promo battle against them. Like, that to me is like, that's big television right there. Definitely want to see that. So, and it's only like a piece of what he could do in AEW.
You see what MJF I'm all for
it. Like, he tweeted something back about a buried alive match or something.
Yeah, he goes, how about a buried alive match? Tremendous. Oh, he's gonna kill Ric Flair. That's good.
He's always on point. He's always on point.
MJF is the best. He is the best. But Lou Thesz wrestled his last match against Masahiro Chono in a one-on-one match in Japan at the age of 74 in the year 2000. Lou Thesz.
Wow. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Flair is, he's this generation's Lou Thesz. A lot of these kids out there don't know who Lou Thesz is, right? Don't know who Strangler Lewis is. Don't know who half these guys are.
I think people are just afraid for Flair's life because they fear, and I can understand it. I mean, you see all the injuries in AEW, they worry what could happen to Flair if he got hurt, because a lot of the injuries are piling up now. So it's like it might get worse, and people worry about Flair because, like as we've seen with wrestlers in the past, they don't know when enough is enough.
Yeah, but if his doctor's willing to clear him, and AEW Medical cleared him, I don't really have a problem with it. But I don't think that they're going to go in that direction. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just saying, if they wanted to do it, and Ric Flair wanted to do it, I don't know why wrestling fans would say, no, you can't do this. You're not, like, why are people mad about just the idea of it? I don't understand the outrage, because to me, I would support a legend of the ring who many call the greatest of all time. Not me. I mean, he's not Bret Hart. But if Bret Hart came out and said, I want to have one last match, are people going to say, no, you shouldn't do that? Will people say that? Maybe
some people would, but I don't think for the majority people would want to see it because it's been so long.
Sure, but I would say good for you, Bret. If Shawn Michaels came out, and was like, man, that last match I had was pretty terrible. I'd like to come out and do another one, try to do better. Sure, if Undertaker said he wanted to wrestle again, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Stone Cold was going to come back, came back, wrestled that match with Kevin Owens. Everybody was very excited about that. Everybody was thrilled when Stone Cold came back. Noted wife beater Stone Cold Steve Austin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't understand. Noted old man, broken neck, wife beating Stone Cold Steve Austin, who I love, by the way. You know what I mean? Which is odd.
Something odd going on right now on Rampage. There's some sort of like
Paige and Ruby Riot are talking for some reason. I don't know what it is. Promo.
Are they breaking up as a group or what, or something? Or
are they still a group?
It seems like she's walking away from. That's what it seemed like.
Seemed like it. Now it's a two-person group.
We're doing a love angle now here or something.
Yeah, with Angelo Parker, and, well, here's Daddy Magic wearing a pretty cool shirt or jacket. I'm not sure what it is. It's nice, though. Looking good, Daddy Magic. Looking real good. I don't know what we're talking about. Ric Flair? I got distracted by Daddy Magic's awesome shirt on Rampage.
I think the main thing that you're putting over is that people are upset that Flair's coming back in wrestling. And just, for me, I thought a lot of people are just upset because a lot of older wrestlers are coming back to wrestle. As we seen, like the Big Show came back this week, and he's going to wrestle. And it seemed like a lot of people aren't happy about older people coming back instead of having newer talent come in. Now, the big thing is, and I think you will understand this, where it's like, well, the older talent are actually stars, are actually over, actually get reactions, and you don't have to actually build them as much. Where newer stars, no one knows who the heck they are, and that takes a very long time to build, where you could just throw Big Show out there, and it's going to get a reaction. So I get it.
And you know what? It also might sell tickets.
Yeah. A novel concept here. Like,
it's the wrestling business, not the wrestling, watch the guys you really like wrestle. I mean, that's not how it works. You got to have people that draw money.
Hey, is that Paige Van Zandt?
Where?
Like right in the ring right there? Oh, no, that's Marina Shafir, I think,
Marina Shafir. Yeah.
Sorry.
Paige Van Zandt doesn't wrestle anymore.
The hair color wasn't the same. Like, she changed her hair.
Didn't Paige Van Zandt sign like a multi-year deal with AEW and then wrestle one match and disappear?
She's still on the roster.
She is?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she's doing stuff with Mandy Rose. I think that's what she's doing these days. Just like taking pictures with Mandy Rose. I saw something about that. I was like,
money,
I liked it. I did like it. I was like, this is pretty. These ladies got their boobs out. How about it? Together for some reason. It was all right. I can't deny. I mean, they seem to be making a lot of money doing it. They must. I don't know what happens if you pay for it. Because I just saw like a thing on Twitter, you know? They're like, hey, look at us together. I was like, oh, shit. What are you two doing together? Are you wrestling a match? And I was like, no, we're just showing our butts. I was like, oh, cool. But I think you got to pay for it. You know what I mean? But I wonder, if you pay for it, what are they doing? What are they doing together?
You have to pay and find out, I guess, for that.
I'm not going to find out. I'm not paying for it. You know what I mean? That's a step too far is what I'm saying. But I was like, good God almighty. What is happening in the world?
Well, I do know what's happening is that
like it's better than wrestling. You know what I mean? Like they're making more money doing that than
wrestling.
Well, no, I mean for them, like they don't have to wrestle. You know, they're both wrestlers, kind of. Well, Paige Van Zandt, kind of. Mandy Rose was like a wrestler. It's amazing to me. She's like not going back. It was like, nah.
Well, yeah, I mean, get paid more money and don't get hurt. Like that kind of makes amazing. I get it.
So good.
Yes.
But
not too bad.
But it's amazing to me there's more money in that than wrestling for her.
I get it. Because she wasn't high level, that's why. Like if she was like, Charlotte or Becky or something, like it might be better. But NXT, like that was it. Like, yeah, it wasn't high enough, I think. Now, speaking of Marina Shafir, she's teaming with Ronda again in 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Because Ronda's going to be wrestling again.
Mm-hmm.
Against, I believe, a team from AEW. I believe Athena and Billy Starks, I think.
Okay.
I think that's the match. So, an AEW team, pretty much all AEW people in the match with Ronda. I think a week before Full Gear. I don't know. I think it's going to happen.
Ronda in AEW at Full Gear, maybe.
I think if not Full Gear, I think eventually it's happening.
I hope so. There's a star. There's another star for AEW. And that's the thing with Flair. Like, his last match, say what you want about it, that match he did with Andrade against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, which they could just redo in AEW, throw it on pay-per-view, and I would be fine with that. You know? I would have no problem with that. Do it again.
I'd like a different match, but okay, I get it.
Sure.
I get what you're saying.
But you know what I mean? Like, they could do that, and I'd be like, yeah, sure, do it again, redo, whatever.
Right.
Sorry.
You're dying here.
I mean, I'm a little under the weather, but
we'll make kids for you.
Yeah, it's difficult. But Flair is a draw. Like, that pay-per-view did well, you know? Yep. They sold out. They made money. Flair made a lot of money. Like, it did well. So, you know, people are going to go and they're going to buy tickets for that. People are going to buy tickets to see Sting. People are going to buy tickets to see The Big Show. People are going to buy tickets to see Edge and Christian and the Hardys. And, yeah, it's good to have young talent. Have you seen the world champion, MJF? I mean, he is a pretty young guy, and he is the top guy and the longest reigning champion in the history of the company, who just was kind of, you know, given the crown by the former king of the company, Kenny Omega, last weekend. And Kenny Omega's no old man either. You know, Kenny Omega was the top guy in AEW. It doesn't matter who, you know, was the champion, CM Punk or Bryan Danielson. Well, he wasn't the champion. Or Hangman Page or Jon Moxley or whatever. Kenny Omega was still kind of the top guy, the number one AEW talent. You know? And the match last week was incredible. First of all, incredible.
That you saw.
Yeah, well, what I saw of it, because TSN Plus, their paid app, cut the feed. They're just like, nah, this is over. Halfway through the match. And then people were complaining, and eventually they brought it back. But it took several minutes. Cutting through an incredible match for no reason, just because they botched their app because they suck. Because their app is garbage. All their apps are garbage. Fucking TSN garbage. Which I was furious about, right? Because I was really enjoying that match.
When you say they're bad apps, it's more Bell Media apps, you're saying. When you say that. Bell Media doesn't have good apps.
Yeah, no, that's true. As a whole, Bell Media is a trash company. And unfortunately, because they have a monopoly over so many forms of entertainment here in this country, we have to suffer through and kind of give them, you know, some money at certain points. If I want to watch The Sopranos, I got to watch it on Crave TV. If I want to watch, you know, a bunch of stuff, I got to watch it on Crave TV. And that app is garbage compared to Amazon Prime or Netflix. Just the way the app works, it's not good. The TSN Plus app is also trash compared to pretty much every other streaming app. UFC Fight Pass or whatever, much better, way easier to navigate, way easier to use, actually works properly, doesn't bother me with ads on a paid app, which is just rude, you know? Yeah, TSN and Bell Media just run crappy products. It's just a bad service compared to every other streaming service that exists. They don't really do much correctly, you know? But having worked for that company, I know that they're just, you know, it's levels of stupid on down. It doesn't work all that well. Anyways, the match was great. Kenny and MJF. MJF wins, and Kenny cuts his promo talking about MJF and passing the torch to him and making him the number one guy.
This is off camera, by the way.
Yeah, but I think AEW put it on their YouTube or their Netflix or their Twitter or whatever, you know? Yes, Netflix is good. I agree, Portier. Netflix is good. The app works. You know what I mean? Anyways. Sometimes I go to the Crave TV app and it's like, no, it's not working. I'm like, why? Why is this app so poor? Anyways, yeah, I don't know about that.
And is Sky Blue gonna win this? I'm worried here. Like I think Shafir's gonna lose. Oh fudge! I think she
Sky
just
Blue's gonna
lost.
win for sure. Sky Blue's getting a push. Have you not followed the
Wow.
story of Sky Blue?
Like I followed it. I didn't think it was very good. I'm like, ugh, like hopefully this dies soon. I thought hopefully they killed it with the whole like thing that happened on Dynamite when she blew the mist in the Julia Hart's face. I thought that would be the end of it, but
Oh
no.
no. They're doing something with Sky Blue. She's getting a push. She blew mist in Julia Hart's face. Something's happening with her. She's like an evil baby face or something. I don't know. But Kenny Omega, passing the torch to MJF. MJF is the number one guy in that company. AEW has a lot of young talent that they're pushing. Sky Blue, Tony Storm, Darby Allin, Julia Hart. I mean, they got a ton of them. So, yeah, they have some older guys, but you need a mix of older talent and younger talent. I don't really understand why people are so outraged about some of the old guys on the TV. Plus, I think Christian is the best thing going in AEW right now. The Edge Christian
Right.
story is the best thing going. Sting is involved in it. I mean, they got a bunch of old guys. But guess what? Darby Allin gets to be involved in it too. Nick Wayne gets to be involved in it too. Luchasaurus, I mean, he's probably older than all of them because he's a dinosaur. But, Nick Wayne is 18 years old. Darby Allin is a young guy in wrestling. He gets to learn and be in this high-level program with Christian, Edge, and Sting. How is that bad?
I just think people like to complain for the sake of complaining. Like they'll never be completely happy people, so
I guess
people will just find something to complain about. But honestly, like I think having like this talent, like veteran talent, is very helpful for AEW. They kind of need that right now, and they have a lot of young champions. If you look at all their champions right now, it's pretty much all their AEW talent. So they need to help build that talent up, and what helps is having established talent come in and do that.
exactly. Right? Like
People
that's how it
always
works.
complain, so you'll never make people 100% happy. They'll always find something to complain about.
I mean, there are things to complain about, but not this.
No,
Not
I also
this.
think people just have like this whole like ageism like issue. Like oh, if you're old, like you suck.
Right.
There's that mentality for some reason, but I think that's an older mentality in wrestling. Like, and the problem is WWE did that a long time ago, where it's like, oh, Hogan and Macho Man, like they're so old, like now you don't like them anymore. You shouldn't like them.
Yeah.
Age in a Cage, Piper and Hogan, don't watch that. The WWE tried to push that like agenda, like oh, old is bad, young is good, kind of thing, and I think that's kind of stuck with a lot of people.
Yeah. When Hogan and Macho and Piper were supposedly old, they were like
In their
40.
40s.
Yeah. They're not saying that about John Cena right now.
Bobby Lashley's like 46, 47. Like,
Yeah. WWE
you
has a
know,
lot of
it,
guys that they wouldn't have pushed back in the day. But
uh,
wrestling business is
wrestling's
different.
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole business has changed. Like WWE is different now too. The like even though Edge isn't there anymore, like they used Edge like here and there. Like he had his moments, and like they'll use guys like Randy Orton, like Cena, like you said. Like there's spots for them in the show. They're
Yep.
not the guys all the time, but there's definitely a spot for them.
I mean, very few guys under 30 are successful in pro wrestling right now. Very few.
Yeah, it's a very select group if you think
Mm-hmm.
about it.
Mm-hmm. That's just the way the business is right now. So when you have very few guys under 30 and the kind of prime age is like 35, 36, 37, I'd say the prime age for wrestlers these days is about 35 to 45. You know?
And I get fans that want younger, and they did that a bit on this week on Raw. They brought the Creed brothers. That felt like something new, but to me, like I don't know how you watch that match. Like I don't feel like they're ready for Raw. Like that's a huge like push way too soon. I think like there's talent there. Like definitely NXT. There's talent, a lot of talent, but I can understand why you shouldn't push guys right away like that. One, you have a video package. It was nice, but there was no package whatsoever for their manager or their valet that came out. So I had no idea what the heck this was about. And she
Yeah.
comes out crying because it's a whole like emotional thing for her. So right away I'm like, well, these guys aren't like cool heels because like they're crying right when they come out. So this kind of ruins the whole thing. That's their debut too.
Yeah, I didn't really understand their gimmick. I mean, they're basically the same gimmick as Alpha Academy. They're amateur wrestlers. They're Kurt Angles.
Right. So that's we
And
got
then
that.
they
But
beat Alpha
the ballet
Academy. I didn't like that they beat
by
Alpha
cheating.
Academy right off the bat. They cheated, yeah.
The finish too. Like I don't know if like what you thought of that finish, but I think their finish is not very good. Like put over the finish like that was something great. Like the guy
Yeah.
like does like a ball into like his part into the guy, the opponent, and then falls on his partner.
Right.
And like
Yeah.
that's supposed to be a cool finish. Like I thought that looked bad.
I liked the match, though, overall. I thought it was fun. They did some
It
cool
had some
wrestling
good
spots.
moments.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good. Otis I thought was fantastic in that match. Otis was
Yes.
very very good in that match.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Yeah.
also thought maybe the Creed brothers probably shouldn't have gone over. Like this is just an
Mm-mm.
out of nowhere thing where they just
Yeah.
come in. Like that didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I think bring them up to the main roster, get the experience, but why have them beat Alpha Academy on their first night? You have them beat them on the first night, there's nowhere to go from there but down. How far are they really going to go higher than that? They're not going to be the tag team champions. I mean, what?
But again, this is them trying to force younger talent on right away because like they don't have younger talent, so they're trying just to force it, and it's too much when you force it like that. It doesn't work.
Well, I'll tell you one young talent that is crushing it in WWE. Two of them under 30. Two young talents dominating Monday Night Raw under 30.
Well, Rhea Ripley, that's for sure.
And,
Oof.
of course, who comes with
not,
Rhea Ripley? Dirty Dom, baby!
He's not killing it. He's really bad. He's
not
just
that bad. He
coasting
plays
right now.
the role real well. He plays that role very well. He's not a great wrestler. He's not a great talent, but he's 26 years old and he's inexperienced. For the amount of experience that he has and the age that he is, I think he's doing pretty well. See, look at him when he look what he's gonna be at 36. I'm telling you, at this point, I'm starting to believe.
When he was 20, his dad at 20 was already like a huge star. Like,
well, his dad. Okay, different era, and his dad is also one of the greatest wrestlers ever. Like, it's not fair to compare.
Well, I look at someone like Randy Orton, like he wasn't the greatest right away, but I felt like 6 years in, like he was definitely a lot better than Dominic is now.
Randy Orton is much more gifted athletically, just naturally. The guy is a freak. I mean, it's a different man. I'm telling you, Dominic, character-wise. He what?
Like Randy grew though. Like Randy, like in so many different ways, he grew if you think about it.
Yeah.
But like, and Dominic, we've seen the growth, but I feel like okay, we got something. Now we're just gonna stay with this, and that's it. We're just gonna run this. He's not gonna do anything. Like it's been almost a year like this, right?
Yeah. It's pretty good though with Judgment Day. I mean, him and Rhea are the best thing from that group. The rest of the guys are kind of just there.
Well, I felt Raw was just there when it started. Like the whole Judgment Day thing when Rhea came out with JD and Dominic. Like
Yeah.
Raw was just there. Nothing great was happening, and it took a long time for Raw to get going. And by the time anything really happened, it's like, I wish the show would end. This is one of the worst Raws of the year. I feel like I say this so many times, but wow, Raw was terrible this week.
Yeah, Raw was not good this week. It was just uneventful. Dominic Mysterio beat Ricochet after that opening promo. And, yeah, it's just, I was like, Dominic Mysterio versus Ricochet, like, ugh, count me out. And then I was basically done with the whole show.
Finish.
Huh?
Oh, you didn't get the trick or street fight? Like that garbage?
Oh, Chelsea
like
Green versus Natalia? I mean, yeah, that was not great either. What else happened? Seth Rollins did a promo. Seth Rollins against JD McDonough. Oh, hey, what a match. Xia Li versus Candice LeRae. DIY versus Kaiser and Vinci of Imperium. Like, Miz TV trying to turn Miz babyface with Gunther. Like, everything was so bad. And then the main event, Damian Priest versus Sami Zayn. Hey! And guess what happened? Jey Uso came out and kicked Damian Priest, and I think helped Damian Priest win by disqualification over Sami Zayn because he kicked him right in the face, right?
Yeah, he kicked Damian, so yeah, Damian won by DQ from what it looked like. They never officially said anything.
Finn and Dominic were like kind of messing around on the outside, and Jey Uso got mad, so he went to help his friend Sammy, and then they got beat up, and Cody Rhodes made the save, and yeah, setting up for Crown Jewel. Terrible episode of Raw. Terrible.
The Candice and Xia Li concussion angle they did was one of the worst, like, fake injuries I think they've done in a long time. Like, it was really bad.
Yeah.
Like, they're supposed to be, like, experts in this. Like, they've seen this happen many times. And yet they can't act one out, apparently. They have no idea what they're doing, clearly. I didn't understand how you've lived this. You've had injuries on your show many times. You've had injuries at shows many times. Yet when you actually have the angle, oh, we're going to do something like this, you can't perform it whatsoever well. I don't understand it. It was mind-boggling how bad it was from almost everyone involved. It was terrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not surprised when you have Xia Li and Candice LeRae. They're not the best actors, you know?
Well, there was that. There was Indy Hartwell on ringside, like, having no idea what's going on. So that helps. And then the referee, like, clearly clueless on anything that was supposed to happen. And it looked like she forgot her spot. So they had to go back and be like, oh, don't touch her kind of thing.
It almost looked like she kicked her for real and knocked her out. Because it was, like, so confused.
She missed. She got the long hair. I mean, it looks good because of the long hair, but she went down and then picked her up, and it's like, oh, no, don't touch her because you're not supposed to touch her. Like, if it's a concussion angle, you're not supposed to touch, right? Like, I think they were trying to play it off like Shawn and Owen, you know, where like, oh, he's done, like, you don't touch him kind of thing, and like.
But I just don't care. Who cares? Where has Xia Li been? Where now I'm supposed to care, and why do I care if Candice LeRae got kicked in the head? I don't care about Candice LeRae. I don't care about her at all. They haven't given me a reason to care. She barely exists on TV.
Right. They're trying to build up Xia as a big force against Becky because she's feuding with Becky, it looks like. So they're trying to build up that match, I think.
That's weak as hell. Who wants to see that? Waste of time.
You can't do Rhea and Becky, so you have to do something else, I guess. That's all they got.
You can't do Rhea and Becky yet, right? They're just waiting.
Right.
Because if you look at Raw, you look at what Becky's doing, you look at what Rhea's doing, you go, shouldn't you two be wrestling each other? What's going on here? Because you're all wrestling jabronis, and there's 2 stars on this show, and you're kind of not wrestling each other. It's weird. It's like, what are we wasting time for with all these jabronis? Get to the stars. Get to the real shit. Not doing it. All right. Crown Jewel.
Let's do it.
WWE Crown Jewel 2023 in Saudi Arabia. People seem less mad about Saudi Arabia owning all the sports than they used to. Like when WWE first went to Saudi Arabia, people were like, could you believe they're doing this? So shocking. They beheaded a journalist or whatever. And now it's like, yeah, everybody's going. It's fine. Different mood.
Well, I think, yeah, it goes to show you, like, people don't care for journalists, so it's okay to, I guess, end them whenever you want. And you see more women's matches, so people are appeased by that. So.
And Sami Zayn is allowed in the country now.
There you go, yeah.
There you go. Things are changing in old Saudi Arabia town. Things are looking up. Good for them. Good for them. Maybe things are changing. What do I know? I don't go to Saudi Arabia. I don't live there.
You can, though, if you want.
Can I?
Before you couldn't. Yeah, well, you can, remember tickets were available to people outside of Saudi Arabia now, this time.
I'd be a little nervous. I don't know if I'm.
I think it'd just be a long trip. Like, that's a lot. Just to go for a wrestling show.
Yeah. It seems, unnecessary. I'm not traveling all the way there for this show. I don't think they're going to do anything that special. Like, what happens
One
here?
title change.
Yeah, Ray dropping the U.S. title to Logan Paul. There, we previewed that match. They did the weigh-in on SmackDown today.
The Dylan Dennis, like...
yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. They did like a weigh-in, and I also thought it was funny that Logan Paul weighed 213 pounds and Rey Mysterio weighed 175 pounds. You're telling me it's only like a 33 pound? What? Help me. Help me with math.
Oh, the main thing, though, I noticed, like...
38
and
pounds,
I thought
right?
weigh-ins... Yeah, I think you're right, but...
That seems like not enough. I feel like Logan Paul outweighs Ray by more than that.
Well, what I thought was off by this weigh-in, I thought, like, you don't have your shoes for this. Like, don't they make you take your shoes off for weigh-ins? Like...
Yeah, they were wearing, like, full clothes, too. You usually have to be in your underwear, but it's pro wrestling, so it's not real.
Well, again, it's just like, and again, with weights in wrestling, like, it's
yeah,
all
but I
BS
feel like
anyway,
they made Logan less, or maybe they gave Logan his accurate weight and they gave Ray like a gimmick weight. I don't think Ray's 175 pounds.
You could be right. Yeah. Maybe they felt like it's too much of a difference that they needed to make it a bit closer. I could see that.
Yeah.
Make it seem like it's more
I think
of
that's
an
what they
even
did.
fight. Like,
I think that's what they did. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's a stupid thing. Like, if anything, it's a better thing for Ray that he weighs less. So it's like, it's more of an underdog kind of fight.
Yeah. But maybe they don't want to make Ray too light for some reason. I don't know. But anyways, Ray. I mean, I could see Ray being 175, though. I just have a hard time believing Logan Paul's only 213. Although, maybe. He's kind of lanky. I could buy Ray at 175, though. I mean, he's kind of a thick guy. 175 is not that much.
Well, in WCW, he was like 135, 140. So
he was skinny, though.
I mean, he's grown since then.
He's
he was super skinny back then.
Yeah.
But still, 175, like, it's still a huge jump from that.
I could see it. I could see him being 175 right now. Looking at him. Especially with all that gear on. I could see it. Anyways, Logan Paul tapped Ray on the head when they had a little face-off, and then Ray slapped him and hit him with a microphone. Hit Logan Paul in the head with a microphone, which, of course, Dylan Dennis did during their boxing face-off. Thought it was funny that they did a little callback to that. But, yeah, Logan Paul should win his first WWE championship. tomorrow afternoon when he beats Rey Mysterio and becomes the new United States champion. Yep.
Yeah, it'll get people talking. It makes a lot of sense. Like, Logan draws a lot of attention. And the fact that he's going to have a championship and be showing that championship all over his podcast, more than likely, and other shows that he's on, I think WWE likes that a lot. I mean, it's only the U.S. championship, too. It's not like one of the most prestigious championships in WWE. So
No,
I think it's more than fine.
I think he will add a lot to the U.S. title that it hasn't had in a while. You know? It's a big star
Yeah.
holding that U.S. title now. I think it's a good move.
He'll probably keep it to Mania, I think. Makes sense.
Yeah. Who does he drop it to at Mania?
Well, I think Kevin Owens is right now the best choice.
Yeah.
Just because they have a past. And when you look at like top baby faces on SmackDown, I think Kevin's, he's near that spot. He's not number one. He's definitely number two.
I think you're 100% right. Kevin Owens beat Austin Theory clean tonight on SmackDown. It's kind of surprised.
He should.
Yeah, but Grayson Waller was on commentary. I thought they might do some shenanigans.
First match, like, on SmackDown, since he got traded to SmackDown, like, yeah, you got to give him a decent win, like, at least to start him off. Didn't do it for Carlito, but you should do it for Kevin at least.
Does Carlito beat Bobby Lashley on SmackDown next week?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's going to be shenanigans, so does it really matter? It's just going to be, clown carve interference and then a finish.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really matter.
So we've got Ray dropping the U.S. title to Logan Paul, and that should be the only title change. Unless Bianca Belair takes the title back from Io Sky.
It's a possibility. I'm still going with Io to retain, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bianca wins.
Yeah. I think Io does retain. But again, I wouldn't be surprised. I feel the same way. I think Io Bianca should be a good match. I think Ray and Logan Paul will be a good match too. I think Ray will have a good match with him.
Yeah, solid matches. I think I honestly, like, not the greatest week of television for WWE, but I feel that their premium live event will make up for it, and it'll probably be one of the better shows you see, I think, from WWE, a long time. I think probably since Fastlane.
You think this is going to be good? I hope so.
I thought Fastlane, short and sweet. It worked. Main event sucked, but that was about it. And I feel with this one, it's like the main event is the highlight, and there's some decent matches on the undercard. So I think it should be a good show. I worry. The only thing that might be a problem is that it might drag a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like it might be a little long. Hope not. I'm hoping for a 4 p.m. finish, a 3-hour show.
Hoping. Yeah, maybe 5, but yeah. Wait and see.
Only 7 matches on the main card.
Yeah, but think about it. Roman, LA, that's probably 30 to 40 minutes. And I'm thinking Drew and Seth is probably 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it all depends on some other match. If you get some short matches, you might be okay. But if every match is at least 10 minutes, it's going to be a long show.
I really don't want Drew and Seth to be too long. I think the length of that match will have a serious effect on my overall score for the pay-per-view.
Right.
I don't want to see it at all.
But it could be, I mean, if Damian Priest cashes in here, I think that could make up for the fact the match is kind of long or boring.
So he'll cash in and make it a triple threat? No.
I mean, maybe. Why not?
No. Because he's already in a match with Cody Rhodes.
Well, then it should be a cash in afterwards. But whatever.
cash in after the match and fail?
Well, I hope for him that he is successful. I don't think he will cash in, but maybe tease it.
Yeah.
He's still a tag team champion. I don't think they're going to make him like every champion on Raw right now.
He's got to cash in at some point. It's like, come on, man. How long are you going to hold this thing? It's taking forever. And, the Seth and Drew match, I really don't care to see. I have not really enjoyed the build. I am just utterly bored with both of these guys. They're talented, but it's just the material is not there. And I think Seth will win, but I don't care. I want it to be a squash if possible, but I know it'll be at least 15 minutes, probably quite a bit more.
Well, I feel like we've been down this road before. Remember when Drew was champion? I think Seth was one of his challengers. And I feel like they had a good match. They may have had two matches, and one of them was not so great, but one of them was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a toss-up on this one. It could be good or maybe not.
His matches are like hit and miss for me. Seth Rollins too. Like sometimes they have matches and I go, God damn, these guys are really good. And then other times they have matches and I go, ugh, I don't see why people like these guys.
Yep. No, 100%. I get you.
They're not that consistent. And consistency is really important when you want to be a top pro wrestler, because that's, people want to see somebody who's always on time, always hitting the spot. Like Bryan Danielson, Roman Reigns, LA Knight. I thought they cut a good promo on each other. The face-to-face tonight on SmackDown. I like that.
Best part of the show.
It was, for sure. Roman called LA Knight what did he say? Let me see.
A redneck
cosplay version of his cousin, right?
Yeah.
Cosplay redneck version of my cousin. Talking about The Rock, which I thought was kind of funny. A lot of people have said, oh, he's The Rock, he's Stone Cold, he's trying to be this, he's trying to be that. And I say, if he reminds you of those guys, that's not a bad thing, because those guys were awesome. And if he has some of that in him, I think that's good. I don't see him really copying them. I see elements of them in him, but I mean, he's his own thing.
Well, I'll acknowledge what Fred said, though. Fred said, like, he felt like it was Stone Cold. Like, there's some mannerisms of Stone Cold. There's definitely no doubt about it. But I think that's just, they both almost have, like, the same kind of upbringing, almost. The way they talk, the way they say things, like, it's almost exactly the same. But that's just the way they were brought up, I think. I don't think that's a copy or anything.
That's just who the guy is.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems authentic to me. The more you watch him, the more you think, no, I don't think he's a ripoff. I think he is who he is. And I like him. And he's great.
You're right about it too. Like, it's not a bad thing that it reminds you of someone who's very good.
Yeah.
It's not bad at all.
No. I like guys that remind me of talented people. And you know what? LA Knight is a talented guy. He backs it up. I like what I see from LA Knight. I like what I've seen from Roman Reigns. I'd love to see Roman Reigns drop the title to LA Knight tomorrow at Crown Jewel. I think it would shock the world. I do not think it's going to happen. No, it won't happen. It won't happen. I mean, we've talked about it over and over on this show. I don't think it's going to happen. They're going to keep this Roman run going. He will hopefully defend the title against The Rock at WrestleMania and then drop the title at some point after, maybe the following year's Mania. I know people were saying that The Rock won't be there and he's going to drop the title to Cody. I think that ship has sailed, quite frankly. I think the need for that has kind of gone. If Roman Reigns is to drop the title to LA Knight or Cody Rhodes, I would prefer it to be LA Knight at this point. How about that?
I get that though. I understand that because like right now, he's untouchable in a sense. Like,
Yep.
Roman didn't beat him yet. So I
Yeah.
get why you feel that way. And like he kind of mentioned that too, like you've gone through everybody, but you haven't beaten me yet. So he's got that for now.
Yeah.
For the next couple hours.
And then once he does, it's like, oh, well, he's gone through everybody again. What's
Well,
next?
the way Heyman said with when he was talking to, as they call him, Nick Aldis, apparently that's the way they call him now. But when all this met with Heyman, he said like we're not done with LA and like it's only just beginning kind of thing.
Right.
So like it feels like this is gonna care like regardless, he's not gonna win the title. I think he's still gonna feud with the bloodline going into Survivor Series, it looks like.
Yeah. And maybe he loses, but not in a clean way to Roman.
Right. Like Cody.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see it. But I think Roman in the end will win with help from Jimmy Uso, possibly Solo Sikoa, but he'll have help. LA will look like he's going to win. I think they'll hopefully convince me during the match like, "Oh, maybe they're going to do it," That's the goal of the match, I think, to get people like me to believe for a moment that maybe it's possible. Because we're all going in thinking, yeah, LA Knight's not really going to win. But if they have a good false finish, bring some emotion out. That's what it's there for. So I'm hoping for a good match. I'm expecting a good match. And Roman to come out still champion. Should be good. It's exciting, though.
No,
It's exciting because it's two big stars in the company. LA Knight has grown into a big star. He's getting this match here with Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel, big show, Saudi Arabia. It's a big deal. People are hyped for it. People love LA Knight. People love Roman Reigns. They're two of the biggest stars in WWE. This isn't like a nothing match for Roman Reigns. This is a big one. You expect Roman to win. But it's still like a big, big match. A huge match for LA Knight, of course. So I'm excited for it. I like it. I'm glad that they're doing it here at Crown Jewel. I think it was the right move. Why not?
No, I completely agree with you. And I also look at it in the sense that when they were building up like Stone Cold Steve Austin, he did get a title shot, but he didn't win right away. Like he wrestled The Undertaker in 97, but he didn't beat The Undertaker. And there were shenanigans, whatever, but he didn't win. But eventually he became the guy. So one title loss doesn't really end you. If anything, it shows you that, hey, like they think of you as something, like you could be in the main event, and then possibly this could actually happen one day. I mean, they keep putting you in that spot. Eventually, it will happen. So I think this is a great test to see how well he does.
Yeah. They would do that a lot. Test out champions. Put them in a title match. Put them in a situation where let's see how bad the crowd wants it. And then, how he performs in that type of match. And then maybe in the next one, he'll win. So, yeah, I think it's a big test for LA Knight. And I think he'll pass the test. And then we'll see where he goes from here. I think he'll be a world champion in WWE, whether it's Roman's belt or Seth's belt. I think he'll carry one of them at some point. Him running Raw would make Raw so fun. Imagine him as champion on Raw, just like being the top guy on Raw in multiple segments on Raw. Crowd, into the action, into a star,
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Well, I think that's a huge problem with Raw. I know, like, you feel it's the Cody show, but it feels like it's a Seth show.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's like, well, we've done this so many times over and over, and it feels like it's very stale, and I can't stand the promos anymore now. It feels like it's the same thing over and over. It's like we need something new.
yeah,
Like LA running Raw instead, that would add new life to the show.
big time, big time. And like, yeah, Seth is a major drawback of Raw, but it's not that I'm disliking Cody Rhodes. I'm disliking the direction of Cody Rhodes. He should have had.
Okay.
He should be wrestling Seth Rollins for the belt tomorrow,
Yeah. Yeah. You're not wrong. Yeah.
and he should win it, and he should be champion. Like enough. Like, why hasn't Cody got a title shot yet? Why? No one has come up with a good reason why. It doesn't really make any kind of sense. Why isn't Cody the number one contender? He beat Seth 3 times last year. He beat him with a torn pec in Hell in a Cell. He comes back, he loses to Roman, and he never gets a shot at Seth. And instead, he has to wrestle these middling matches against Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest. He has to battle the Jabroni Judgment Day instead at these premium live events. I'm not mad at Cody. I'm mad at the booking of Cody. They're wasting Cody. And in the meantime, they're making everybody far less interested in Cody Rhodes. And that is a disservice to Cody. They're killing the momentum of Cody by putting him in feuds that no one cares about. It's not Cody's fault. Cody's excellent. There's not enough Cody. I love Cody. Cody's the man. He should be champion. He should have got the title shot. That should be the match tomorrow. LA Knight, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. Boom. That's a premium live event. That's some shit that you could watch and get excited about. Here comes Cody's going to be champion tomorrow. Let's go. LA Knight's not going to win, but Cody's got it. But no, instead it's Seth against Drew McIntyre. And Cody against Damian Priest. For what? What's on the line? Oh, jack shit is on the line. What's the point of the match? There's no point of the match.
Well, there is, because he busted Cody's leg, so he's got to get revenge for that.
But Cody got revenge. He beat up Damian Priest at the end of Raw.
No, he beat up JD. He beat up JD, not
Damian Priest ran away. But Cody seems healed. He's not limping around. So how bad is he really hurt? Stupid.
We'll find out at Crown Jewel.
It's so bad,
I'm not saying
man.
It's great.
But you know how like you see how they're wasting Cody.
Of course. Yeah, no, I completely see it. You're 100% right about it, and it's sad. Cody's gonna win, I think, at Crown Jewel, but it just feels like we're not going anywhere with Cody, and we're just spinning the wheels. And it feels like we're not even gonna get that match with Seth. We're just gonna get another tag team match. So we're gonna keep spinning those wheels.
This Jey Uso tag team stuff, like what are we doing? What are we doing?
Just back and forth.
He should be taking the belt from Seth. It's like obvious to everybody. And they're just... And Raw is just in this stale position where nothing's happening, and it's horrible. It's a horrible show. They have talent. They're just not using it right. Like, it's like they don't want their stars to wrestle each other. You have Becky Lynch. You have Rhea Ripley. Let's keep them far apart. You have Cody Rhodes. You have Seth Rollins. Let's keep them far apart. Rhea Ripley is not wrestling Becky Lynch tomorrow. She's wrestling a cavalcade of jabronis like Nia Jax and Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler and Raquel Rodriguez in a fatal 5-way for the women's world title. Rhea will definitely retain the title. If she loses to any of these people, it'll be a goddamn joke. Mommy's always on top, baby. I think the match will be terrible, too. I think this match will be the worst match on the show, unfortunately, for Rhea. I'm sorry, mommy. I'm sorry.
Well, historically, can you think of any great 5-way matches?
Nope. And the roster does not inspire confidence. The lineup for this match does not make me think we're going to have a classic 5-way.
I mean, it's just going to be a spot fest. That's all it's going to be. And I agree with you. Like, if this was like Seth, Cody, Jey Uso, Finn Balor, like Damian Priest, we put like that's like going to be like the match. Then I'd be like, okay, well that's a pretty interesting kind of scramble kind of match. This, or it's like you have so many different elements, so many different styles involved in this. It's like, I mean, it could be interesting, but it's going to require a lot of work. And in the end, I think just getting by might be tough. But Botchamania should have a lot of fun with the match, I think.
Yeah. Rhea retains, though?
Oh, yeah. 100%. Like, I'm surprised she's not a bigger favorite than Roman, but I guess because there's so many different opponents. So the chances maybe are a bit less with her.
Are you looking at betting odds somewhere?
I'm just thinking, because he keeps saying it all the time, right? That, she has like a 25% chance of winning. They say it all the time on the show.
Oh, because of the 5. Yeah.
Right.
I understand. Rhea will definitely retain in this fatal 5-way. Seth Rollins will retain his world title against Drew McIntyre. Roman Reigns will retain his undisputed title against LA Knight. Rey Mysterio likely to drop the U.S. title to Logan Paul. Cody Rhodes will beat Damian Priest. I think we mentioned it. It's going to happen. And Io Sky may drop the title to Bianca Belair, although we both predict Io to win. How about John Cena and Solo Sikoa? I know you didn't like John Cena's promo tonight, but what about the match?
We can talk about both. The match, it's very interesting in terms of like who could win. Like I think it's close, but I actually think going with Cena because they made such a big deal out of he's got to win a match. And like they're trying to build Cena up for something eventually. So I feel like this is not the end of Cena. As they're saying, if he loses, it's the end. Well, it's not going to be the end right here. He's going to have another match. So he's going to win this one, I think.
Is he going to have another match? I thought he was wrapping up here.
Yeah, well, this run, sure, done. But like, it's not like he's retiring with this match, I don't think.
But if he's wrapping up, I think he goes out on a loss.
But because they built that story, that's the thing. He hasn't won a match in so long, and it's a big deal for him, and he doesn't know if he has it anymore, kind of thing. Like you wouldn't have built that story if he didn't need. Like they had to put over that he needed to win. They gave him a reason for it.
But if he isn't coming back, I mean,
like he's gonna come back one day.
When? He's got movies and stuff that'll start up. I mean. I think there's still a strike though, right? I don't follow that stuff.
Yeah, I think the writers are off strike, but I think there's still something with the actor or something. So like, okay. Yeah.
So nothing's happening.
So I think he's going to still come back eventually anyway. So I think they just built this up because they wanted to make it that he gets a win finally, build him up that he can take a loss eventually again, but he actually gets something now.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Last great win.
We have agreed on all the matches. I'm going to roll the dice and go with Solo on this one. How about it?
I mean, that's a good roll because really this is a tight one.
Yeah. I'll go with Solo. We've just agreed on all the matches. I mean, I think Cena could win, but I think Solo might win, so I'll go with Solo. Sami Zayn will beat JD McDonough on the pre-show, though, right? Come on.
I mean, pre-show doesn't really count, but yeah, sure, of course. Yeah.
I mean, it's a match that's happening tomorrow.
I know you're not going to watch it. So
I might watch it. Why wouldn't I watch it?
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think you'd be like awake or like watching, turning it on by then. 12 o'clock sounds too early.
At noon? I'll be awake at noon. Are you kidding? I'll be awake at like 7 probably. I don't know. I hope I won't, but I might be. I've got 2 kids. They're not trying to let me sleep. Yeah, what are you talking about? They're gonna watch Crown Jewel with me. That'll be fun.
Oh, that's cool. Can have your kids on the show.
Super chat. Maybe, yeah, maybe. They may show up. Haven't been on in a while. Pretty Deadly beat the Brawling Brutes in a Donnybrook match tonight. The match was, not great, but the finishing move that they did through the table was kind of cool, right?
It was, especially for someone who separated his shoulder, to pull off that move was kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
I give him credit for that. But I didn't like, and you notice this happened in the Trick or Street fight as well, commentary kind of went sour on the match and kind of started burying it a bit. And I felt like it didn't really need to get buried, especially because for whatever reason, there's broken glass on the floor and they're bumping in it. And you guys are just laughing about it. It's like, what are you doing here? Like, I don't understand. Like, why are you guys crapping on this? Like, these guys are hurting themselves. Like, I see all those bruises and welts, and like, you're just laughing about this. Like, its commentary was very odd.
Yeah. I mean, the match was okay. It wasn't.
It dragged a little too long, I thought. I thought they had some good spots, but then it just kind of went and kept going. And it's like, you guys could have wrapped this up quick. It didn't need to go through a commercial break, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a little long, but they didn't have much on SmackDown. It was a pre-tape show, right? So they had to kind of extend some matches. I mean, they threw Charlotte and Shotzi there against Chelsea and Piper Niven for no reason in a non-title match.
They
so now they have a title shot. What's the reason? The title shot?
Was because Shotzi won last week, and then they did a promo after the show saying that, we'll wrestle you and a friend, and you have no friends, ha ha ha. And then she brought out Charlotte.
Why are they friends?
It made sense. Well, because Charlotte's friends with people she doesn't like, She doesn't like Chelsea and Piper, so she's friends with Shotzi.
I don't know.
And she just destroyed them, too. Like, you notice that? Charlotte just came in, completely destroyed the tag champs by herself.
Well, it's the queen. Are they going to win the tag titles?
I don't think so. But it's with Charlotte, it's definitely not impossible.
Well, yeah. If Charlotte has a title match, especially against Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, like even if Shotzi's her partner, there's always a chance. It's Charlotte.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But a lot will depend on if Bianca wins that title, because I think that might change the dynamic a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, if Bianca wins the title, maybe Charlotte goes after her. Charlotte and Bianca were teaming for a bit. That seemed to just disappear.
Well, because they did the whole angle where Bianca got hurt, right?
Yeah. Jacko Robertson says LA Knight will be the new WWE Undisputed Champion. Well,
wow.
See, some people believe. Harold Schneider dropping a super chat says, keep it up. Thank you, Harold. Thank you for supporting the Ringside Report Network as you do. Shout out to Leor as well. He says Blunt Force Trauma looks like the Stunner. He has an elbow drop move, which is similar to The Rock's, but yeah, he loves LA Knight. Yeah! Where does LA Knight go after losing to Roman? I think we kind of touched on it. Probably continues to feud with Roman. I don't think it's quite over. Portier Concierge says LA Knight beats Roman Reigns, wins the title, then attacked. Damian Priest cashes in the briefcase, wins the title, then later loses the belt to Cody. Jeez. I don't think that's happening.
Okay.
That's a lot.
That's wishing. That's a lot of wish.
That's a lot going on in one show. I doubt that. Angelo Cantagones, shout out Angelo. What about the women's world title? I think we touched on that too, right? If you guys have any more questions, anything we didn't touch on. Ryan Katz says, at least Bell Media is now allowing their employees to appear on non-Bell Media platforms. All right. Is that true? I'm banned from Bell Media. Did you know that, John? I think I'm banned. I wonder if I'm still banned. I mean, I don't
I
think
don't know
that
if you,
they have a lot of MMA coverage on that sports radio station that I used to work for. I don't know if they do at all, quite frankly. I don't listen to the radio, but, well, I do listen to the radio, but not, like, talk radio usually. I listen to, like, The Buzz in the car, music from the 90s.
99.9.
Yeah, when I'm in
Yeah.
the car, I'll listen to The Buzz, or sometimes I'll listen to that AM 620 out of Vermont. They have that guy Brian Kilmeade, who's like a Fox News guy, and you'd be like, Dave,
Okay.
why do you listen to that guy? I'm surprised, but I like him. He's entertaining. I don't always agree with what he's saying, but I like Brian Kilmeade as a broadcaster. I think he's good.
Yeah. Like, it's like Alex Jones. Like, I don't believe a lot of what he says, but he's entertaining. Like,
Yeah,
it's crazy, but it's entertaining to watch.
yeah. Once in a while, I'll tune into 690 and see, like, because I have guys that I know. I don't know. Friends is a stretch. I don't know.
A strong word.
I mean,
Strong word. Acquaintances.
Acquaintances. I mean, yeah, friends are people that I like call up and say how you doing, and talk to on a regular basis. Like, I don't really talk to those guys. They're nice guys, though, and sometimes I check in and see what they're talking about, and it's usually hockey, and then I'm like, all right, well, I don't know who any of these guys are, and sometimes I hear about them, and I'm like, who? I don't know who this is. They start talking about a guy named Suzuki, and I'm like, are they talking about wrestling? And they're not, and I get disappointed. And then, do they still have a guy named Suzuki, John?
They do.
Okay.
But are you saying now if you're not banned anymore, you'd be willing to go on their shows? Is that what you're saying?
To promote the Ringside Report Network, I'll go anywhere, man.
Okay, well that's cool.
Yeah.
You're saying that.
Yeah, and to promote MMA and pro wrestling, to spread the love of the great sports, I would definitely go anywhere. Yeah, I guess so. They might have to pay me for it, though. I don't know if I do any free spots for them like I used to. I used to do a lot of free guest spots on their shows, their various shows. Weekly guest spots talking about MMA, previewing fights. I wouldn't get paid for any of those. Those were free, just I took it as promotion, but really other people get paid for those things, Some people, not everybody, but some people do. Especially like a weekly guest spot where you're booked every week on like a higher profile show.
You had entrance music.
Yeah. So I don't think I would do it for free. But I would do it, probably.
So there's a chance. That's good for some people.
Angelo says they don't have any MMA coverage at all. Jeez, really? Angelo listens to that radio station. I know. I see him from time to time talking about hockey with those guys. We still follow each other on Twitter, so they're like Twitter friends. You know what I mean? They're not real, like, life friends. Twitter friends. Like, Johnny and I are, like, real life friends. I've known John since we were quite young, and, we've kind of grown up together. So
it'll be 20 years next year.
Is that really the case? Wow.
Yeah. Crazy how time flies, huh?
I feel like it's 20 years now, no?
No, I feel it was 20 years because, like, I only knew you in 2004, no? Or 2005-ish?
Okay, I guess so. I think I met you in 04.
Yeah.
So that's why we're coming up.
Yeah.
I guess September then, 04, is when I met you, when we started school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
20 years. Crazy, man. We're old. What the hell? God damn, pal.
It's crazy how the world's changed since then.
Yeah.
You have kids now, too. Like, I would have never thought that 20 years ago. You wouldn't have thought that 20 years ago.
No. I always figured that would happen.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no surprise to me. I've always planned for children. I always wanted kids. Always.
Wow.
I mean, I wasn't ready for them 20 years ago, but, I'm good now. Yeah, the 690 guys are nice guys. Good guys. The Seans, the two Seans, and the two Mitches, nice guys, you know.
That's true. They all have like a lot of the same names.
They all have
I
the
forgot
same name.
about that.
They all have the same name. It's three guys. They pretend that they're different guys, but it's one guy named Sean who's pretending to be two, actually. That's the secret they don't want you to know. It's cheaper that way. It's, it's the same guy.
Well, and we'll give a shout out to Jimmy G. Like, Jimmy G was always cool.
Does he still work there?
I don't know if he still works there, but he was always cool.
I don't know. Like, I don't listen to the station, so I haven't heard him. I don't know. I don't know who still works there, to be quite frank with you. Hopefully they all still do, and they're all doing well. But yeah, I've tuned in from time to time. Like, I know certain people still work there, right? The two Seans I know still work there, because sometimes in the morning I'm like out in the morning, so I hear Big Sean and Lil C. Sometimes I hear them for a couple minutes. That's what their fucking show should be called. I don't know what their show is called, but they should call themselves Big Sean and Lil C in the morning. That'd be tremendous.
It's crazy we're talking about 20 years ago, but you were there 20 years ago too, which was kind of crazy.
I was what now? I was working there 20 years ago. Yeah, I worked there for a long ass time, right? I was there for a long time. And then they banned me for no real reason in particular, other than they fired me from the job that I was working at a different radio station because they cut most of their staff because they said they couldn't afford it, even though they posted record profits. They cut a bunch of local programming too because they don't actually care about the local audience. But Angela's saying they don't have any MMA coverage at all. Makes me a little sad. Push that sport real hard there, for a long time.
2006, it started, no?
Yeah. And I always tried to highlight local MMA talent and push MMA forward as a sport and jiu-jitsu and wrestling and all that kind of stuff. I tried to be a voice for that community, which is a big, very strong community in Montreal that the local sports market is afraid of. And they always have been. And I'm not talking about a certain radio station. I'm talking about everybody in sports media in the city. They're all afraid of fighting. They don't embrace it the way they embrace basketball or hockey, especially, but even soccer. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, you were ahead of its time when you think about it. Like, yeah. You kind of gave it a voice in Montreal when it had no voice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not like it was very popular with the people. It's not like, George St. Pierre sold out every bar, every arena in this goddamn city. That's the thing. Like, every Saturday night, it's a top trending topic. You know what I mean? Like, UFC is massive. It is a huge sport. Every dude that's into sports is into the UFC for the most part, And the fact that they don't cover it in a real way is pathetic. They're not serving their market correctly. MMA is huge in this city. I never understood that. But it gets very little play in the local media. Gets nothing. Olivier Aubin-Mercier is main eventing the PFL pay-per-view in a couple weeks. He's going up. He's going to win another $1 million in a fight. It's one fight. He won the tournament last year in the PFL, where the grand prize at the end when you win the finals is $1 million. And he's set to do it again this year. And crickets in this city.
Nothing.
We should be fucking celebrating this man. He is a king. He is a champion. He is our champion. He's the Canadian gangster. He won last year. I'm getting upset just talking about it because I hate how we don't support MMA in this city. It's fucking disgusting. He won the tournament last year, and what did he say as soon as he won? He didn't say thanks to my team. He didn't say... What did he say? Quebec is back, tabarnak. That's what he said. because he knows that we're watching. Like, he supports the people here more than the people here are supporting him. I mean, the real people, the people that know, everybody's supporting him. All the people in my world, in the MMA world, in the Montreal MMA world, that, the jiu-jitsu world, we're all watching Olivier. We all know. Everybody knows. But, like, as far as the mainstream media, it just doesn't get picked up, and it should be. Although he started to pick up a little bit on the mainstream media on the French side. I did see him picking up, It should be bigger, though. It should be like front page news on newspapers when this guy wins tournaments. I don't understand. Maybe if it was the UFC, but I don't know.
No, well, there definitely should be more local coverage. I don't doubt you on that one, without question.
Yeah, that's it. There's not a lot of local sports coverage for MMA or jiu-jitsu or any of that, And we have such great athletes here that are representing Montreal on a world stage, and it's like, what are we doing? Why are we only focused on like 2 or 3 sports? It's crazy.
Oh, it's just sad that if when they got rid of you, they didn't fill that void that you left. That's sad.
Well, I guess they felt it was unnecessary.
It's a huge miss, sadly.
Yeah. And, I mean, there's a lot of pretty awful, mean things I could say that I'm trying not to say right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's a culture of, let's just say there's not a lot of martial artists in that building, in those places. Like, I've been around these sports reporters around, and, like, nobody's really, I haven't seen them at the gym. Put it that way. You haven't seen them either, because they're not there. They're on the couch watching sports, which is fine. But, yeah.
Well, tomorrow you're going to be on the couch, though, because you got a lot of watching to do.
Yes, I will be. Yeah. Harold Schneider says, nobody listens to them. If only more people knew you were doing your show here. I mean, it depends on the show, Harold, Depends on the show that we do here on the Ringside Report Network. But, yeah, that's why I would probably go on to promote. I'll go anywhere to promote the Ringside Report Network, bring more eyeballs to Johnny North. Look at this guy. People need to see this, man. Look at him. Fantastic.
Well, they heard us for many years before. They know the voice, at least.
Oh, they still know. I don't think, well, here's the thing, too, with the whole AM radio thing and going on to promote. I would only do it if they paid me because I don't think it's actually worth it to promote on radio. Because I think we kind of, we got everything we're going to get from that. Anybody that ever listened to that station that would listen to us has already done it. We got all the juice. You know what I mean? There's no juice left there. There's no, I mean, goddamn, they're making cars now. They don't even have AM in the car. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's dead. There's no need. There's no need. See, Lauren is here. Angelo is here. All the people that found us there, they're here. You know what I mean? And
right.
And the people that are finding us now, they're elsewhere. It's not, a Montreal-based show that we do. You know what I'm saying? We're not a local sports show. I just live in the city, and I notice, man, Brianna St. Marie wins a fucking silver at ADCC, and there's no coverage. Fucking Olivier wins a PFL tournament. There's no coverage. Quebec people are smashing it on the international scene, and it's no coverage. It's weird. All right. I mean, even in pro wrestling, even in pro wrestling. How about AEW? Bryan Danielson suffered a broken orbital bone apparently in the Andrade match, and then they played it off like it happened in the Okada match. Either way, Bryan's hurt, which sucks because I was hoping to see him. And AEW's coming here in a month. Bryan Danielson is my favorite wrestler by far. He's the greatest thing in all of pro wrestling. He's the man. I really wanted to see him wrestle. Haven't seen him wrestle since before he retired from WWE. You know, I saw him wrestle when he was wrestling in WWE, and that was probably the last time. It was maybe 10 years ago. Haven't seen him since. I really am disappointed. I bought tickets for Collision and Dynamite so that I could make sure that I was at whatever show that Bryan Danielson was at, because I wanted to make sure that I could see Bryan Danielson. And now it doesn't look like I'm going to get to see Bryan Danielson, which sucks. But if he is retiring next year or something, when his daughter turns 7, I'm going to have to go and travel to see a Bryan Danielson match. Got to see him wrestle before he retires. If he's really retiring, which I kind of doubt. But yeah, disappointing news that Bryan's hurt again, and that, you know, he probably won't be making the trip to Montreal for those 2 shows. Because selfishly, I really wanted to see Bryan Danielson. And also, damn, Bryan Danielson's hurt again? Sucks.
Well, I'm not surprised by this. I felt like we've been talking about this for months now almost, where it's like, this is a bad idea, him wrestling so often, even in matches that aren't like just backyard wrestling matches, like just having these strong style matches. That's a lot of wear and tear when you're wrestling him almost every week. And it was going to catch up, and it did. And it happened in like the weirdest kind of way too. It was just apparently a lockup. And apparently that's how it happened. So I think they ran him too hard. It reminded me a lot of like when WWE would book him on Raw and SmackDown almost every week. It's like, you gotta calm down with this. Like, yes, he's over. Yeah, people love him and all this, and he's great. But if you use him too much, like, he's gonna wear out. His body's already beat up. Like, they needed to save him for more of like special occasions, not have him wrestle every week. It was too much. And the Okada thing, yeah, that's great, but like, in the end, this happens. Like, it's not worth it.
Well, apparently it happened in the Andrade match.
Yeah, but then they have to drag it to the Okada thing, right?
Yeah.
So then you're really putting a huge like risk factor right there, where it's like, well, he's already hurt, and then he's going to wrestle Okada, and like, oh, he's still gonna have to do his stuff, and it's like, did he injure it even worse? Like, these risks that they put, like, and you know, Danielson's not going to say no. He's just going to keep pushing himself until he breaks. So I'm not surprised. I felt this was going to happen, sadly, and it does. So it's too bad. Like, he's had a hard wrestling career. He sacrificed a lot, and his body is just giving up, sadly.
Is that it, or is it just some bad luck? Because a broken orbital bone, I mean, that's not, you know, your body breaking down. That's like an accidental shot to the face.
It just happens when you get older, though, too. Like, just the injuries just start to pile up faster and easier, I find.
I don't know.
Like, how many times has he been hurt?
A lot.
Like,
no, he's been hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's, yeah, it's disappointing. Yeah. But I tell you, for a broken orbital, you would think his face would be more messed up, right? If he broke his orbital in the Andrade match, his face didn't look so bad in the Okada match.
He had a black eye. Like, that was clear.
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, it couldn't have been that, if he wrestled, it couldn't have been that bad, right? But apparently it was bad enough. Like, and it says he's out until the end of this year. So like, he'll probably be back, and you're going to hate this, probably back right after the Montreal shows. So Like, you are going to see him again this year. It's just you unfortunately get to miss him.
Great. Well, we'll probably see Edge, right? Edge decided he would team with Sting and Darby Allin this week when Christian came out and was like, "Hey, I know you might be thinking about joining Sting. Let me make sure you don't. I'm gonna break your neck." And I was like, "Well, Edge was only thinking about it, but he also said he would never fight you, Christian. If you and your goons jump him, don't you think you might, give him a reason?" Which he did. They attacked him. They threatened to break his neck. And then Sting and Darby Allin made the save, and Edge speared Christian, and he accepted to be Sting and Darby's partner at Full Gear. It was a bit of a break in logic here. Edge is like, "I won't fight Christian." Christian goes, "Are you thinking about fighting me? I'm going to break your neck." And then Edge is like, "Well, them's fighting words. I guess we're fighting." It was odd. But, we knew we were going to get there in the end. This is how they chose to get there. In hindsight, though, maybe they could have gone without the Edge refuses to fight Christian story, because Christian killed that for himself. It made Christian seem a little dumb, Wouldn't he play Edge to his advantage and not attack him, try to buddy up to Edge? But I guess he didn't want to buddy up to, because Edge wanted to buddy up to him first, but I guess Christian didn't want to do that, right? So, okay, I guess it makes sense. It's a lot.
I think it was but the idea is eliminate a threat before it can become a threat. So I think that was the logic behind that one.
Okay. Yeah. So it's Edge, Sting, Darby versus Christian, Luchasaurus, Nick Wayne at Full Gear. And if you want to complain about Sting being in his 60s and Edge and Christian being in their
50s.
Are they in their 50s?
I think Edge just turned 50.
No.
I think he just had a birthday.
Yes, he just turned 50. You're right. October 30th. Wow. He just turned 50.
Yeah.
How about Christian?
I'm on the ball with that one.
Wow, you're good.
I'm not usually on the ball with that, but I was on the ball that time.
Wow, Christian is 49 and turns 50 a month after Edge. Edge's birthday is October 30th. Christian's birthday is November 30th. So he will turn 50 on the 30th of this month. Like, these guys are the same. How are they that parallel? It's ridiculous. A month apart. Tremendous.
They've known each other for so long, too. That's crazy.
Christian is recently divorced, according to Wikipedia. I didn't know that. 2020?
Yep. That's why there was all those speculations about him, with other people.
What do you mean? I didn't catch any of that.
Any time he was with any of the females on wrestling or whatever, he's he's hanging out with them or something, he's moved on. And I think he even alluded to some things in his promos about that.
Really?
Remember with Jungle Boy, with his mom and all that?
Yeah, well, he's been hitting on the moms. He's been doing it with Nick Wayne too, right?
Well, a lot of people thought he's taking, it's actual because he got divorced recently. So.
Oh, so you think it's real? That Christian's actually shooting his shot, as they say, with these ladies and really getting together with them?
Oh, I don't think it is, but I know some people were speculating that he's truly a scumbag.
Wow.
Shows you how good of a heel he is. He gets people to believe.
Wow. That was something. Also on Dynamite, AEW was promising a big announcement from Tony Khan, and the big announcement was a pre-sale for tickets for All In London next August.
Well, I remember when they made the major announcement that they were going to All In, and you were very upset, saying like this is not a major announcement. This only is
Yeah,
for UK people.
it is. And this is
well,
worse.
but well, back then, like I mean, it was the biggest show ever that they did. So I mean, that's a big thing. Now, like yeah, but the thing is, I said it's an important announcement, and it's really nothing great
Super chat.
for
Super
what it
chat.
was.
Super chat.
It's nice for everyone in the UK, and it is going to be again a big show for them to do, but it definitely wasn't something to hype over because I think everyone thinks important announcement is going to be groundbreaking, it's going to be something shocking kind of thing, and this just seems like something you could announce on Twitter or just like in passing when Excalibur run down the card. Like this didn't seem like it was super important to make a big announcement about.
Tricking the audience. It's not cool, Tony Khan. It's not
Eh,
cool.
maybe he's turning heel.
Yeah, it's really saying you have a big announcement and then announcing a pre-sale for some tickets that are happening in London. It's garbage. Like WWE on SmackDown today, they're like, "Hey, there's a pre-sale for Elimination Chamber in Australia coming up soon," and it's like, okay, that's how you announce it. Have the commentary team throw a graphic up and do a little talk up for it and move on.
Yeah,
You don't
I agree.
promo it as a major announcement from the president of the company and then have him show up on TV and go, pre-sale, guys. Fuck off, Tony Khan. Fucking idiot. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Well, they're trying to put importance on like their biggest show that they do. I get that, and they want to like sell the tickets as soon as possible to get as many people. They want to try to outdo what they did last year. I mean, this year. I don't know if they will, but they're going to try for it.
But do they not realize how the audience will take it when you promote like a big announcement and then that's, you know? Like, do they not anticipate that people will go, what? That's it? It was weak.
Well, I think in the UK they'll sell decently. Like again, might not be as much as it was before, but I'd expect they'll get 60,000 at least.
Yeah, I mean, they'll do well, but that's not really the point, you know? Anyways.
Well, they upset everyone else. That's it.
Yeah,
Sacrifice.
people were mad. I was not happy about it. Brian Cage and the Gates of Agony beat Hangman Page and the Young Bucks to become the new Ring of Honor Trios champions. Swerve showed up during the match and taunted Hangman, which Hangman was like, "Oh, I'm going after Swerve. I'm tagging out of this match." Left the Young Bucks in a 2-on-3, and the Young Bucks lost, which pissed off Matt Jackson quite a bit. Started flipping tables and slapping a chair into the ring post after the match. And then they were backstage, the Bucks were, with Kenny and Chris Jericho. And the Bucks were mad that Jericho was in their locker room. And they seemed upset with Kenny. And they don't like the friendship that Kenny has with Jericho right now. Interesting little turn for the Young Bucks on Dynamite.
Well, is it a turn or is just them venting frustration? That's what it seemed like. I don't know if they've actually turned on Kenny or anything like that, but it just seemed like they were upset. And I think they were justified to be upset because Hangman just left, gone.
Mm-hmm.
They lost their titles.
Yep.
Kenny's hanging around with Chris Jericho, who abused their father like a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They have every reason to be upset. I get it.
Yeah. But are they turning heel?
I don't know about that. Like, it doesn't. Like, does that make sense right now for them to turn heel?
I mean, if they're going off doing their own thing, if they're separating from Kenny and Hangman again.
But they're the normal contenders for the tag titles because they won the match at Wrestle Dream. Remember the 4-way?
Yeah, when are they going to get that title shot?
Well, I mean, the tag champs are Ricky Starks and Big Cass, right?
Right.
So, like, those are heels. Like, why would you turn the Bucks heels to face them? Like, it doesn't make sense.
Why haven't they got a title shot yet?
Well, with the Full Gear, makes sense, right? Hometown.
It does, but are they? I mean, is that the plan?
I would think so.
Okay. Okay. So what was the tantrum about?
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, I mean,
Right?
it's just, I mean, vent it because it makes sense for them to vent it because they lost and they should be upset about losing.
Yeah, but
I
it
get
it,
that.
it felt heelish. Felt
Yeah, I know. I
crybaby-ish,
don't know.
you know?
I'm not sure where they're going with this.
Yeah.
So, wait and see.
Jericho and Omega got a win, beating Parker and Magic. And then Don Callis, Takeshita, Powerhouse Hobbs, and the other guy, Fletcher.
Kyle Fletcher, yeah.
He's in the group now, officially.
Yep. Something happened on Rampage. We couldn't make it out, but apparently, yeah, he joined the group last week.
Okay. Callis wants a street fight in 2 weeks on Dynamite. Not next week. I guess they couldn't get Ibushi for next week, so they had to do it in 2 weeks.
So is it right? It's right before the pay-per-view, which is weird, but okay.
Right. And Callis, Kenny accepts, and he says, we'll have Ibushi with us. And Callis says, okay, but you're still a man short. And I go, well, wait a second. Callis only has 3 guys with him. Who's Callis's 4th man?
That'd be Ospreay, no?
Is it, though?
I would think.
I never heard his name mentioned, and he's not there. So when Don Callis has 3 goons behind him, and then Kenny and Jericho in the ring, and Kenny's like, I got Ibushi coming. And Callis is like, you're a man short. I'm like, no, it's 3-on-3. What? Like, I was confused.
Right, but I think, because apparently you have to be like super smart, like a smart fan,
Right.
and be like, well, when he says that, you have to know that Ospreay's in the group and he can show up whenever he wants, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You have to
I
know
mean,
the lingo.
I assumed at that point, I was like, oh, I guess Will Ospreay is with you guys, unless you have another guy that I'm unaware of. Like sometimes there's extra guys in groups, and it's like, oh, who's that guy? I guess he's there
Well,
now.
it might also be a thing where they don't have Ospreay guaranteed, so they just say like, oh, we have another guy, but not say Ospreay in case they can't deliver Ospreay.
Yikes. That's pretty rough. That's bad. Anyways, so I guess we'll have a match. And so they were a man short. And of course, then they get a man who's tall. Jericho says he's got a friend who's even bigger than Will Hobbs. And Don Callis says, no one's bigger than Will Hobbs. And then here comes the Big Show. And he was walking not so good. And he punched Kyle Fletcher, and it didn't look so good. Fletcher just kind of ran into Big Show's fist, basically. And I guess Big Show's going to wrestle. Or Paul White, as they have to call him. But, he's Big Show. They got Edge. They got Big Show. I don't care what they call them. Call them by their real names in AEW. Doesn't seem right. So, you know who I'm talking about. The Big Show. It's the Big Show. Undertaker. Tonight you will wrestle the Big Show. We're going to have Undertaker and Kane in a tag team match, player, against the Big Show.
Tag match.
Holla, holla.
Okay.
It's a 2-on-1 handicap match. All right.
Well, I do like that AEW got a song for the Big Show. It's very much like his WWE song, so that's nice of them. But Big Show didn't look good, sadly.
No.
Like he looked slow. I felt like his ring gear didn't suit him. It felt like it didn't fit him, really. It just wasn't a good look for him, sadly. It doesn't seem like he's really ready to wrestle. It just seemed like he's going to stand there and that's it. And that's about as much as he can do. I'm actually worried about this. I don't know how good this can be.
Yeah, I don't know if he can wrestle anymore.
I mean, I think he's too beat up too. Like apparently he had surgery and like it's one of his knees or something. It's like that's tough.
Yeah, he's huge, and he's been bumping around for years. It's taking a toll. I'm not surprised, but yeah, just the way he walked out and the way he was just kind of standing there, I was like, oh, this doesn't look so good.
No. Like I'd get it if like you had some fire there and like there was some intensity, but it looked like it was just tough to stand on the stage. I'm like, that's almost sad, really.
Yeah, it didn't look great. We'll see how the match goes. Hopefully better. I'm a pretty big Big Show fan, I thought he was incredible.
He is.
Underappreciated in his time, too. Like, way underappreciated. For what he was and how amazing he was. Underappreciated by the fans and by the WWE. They could have done so much more with him.
Well, bad booking, too.
Yep.
Like, really terribly used, like, in terms of the way they booked him. Like, they didn't book him like a giant. Like, maybe he had that great ECW run.
Yes.
But really, that's only, like, a year
I know.
out of, like, how many years? Like, at least over a decade in WWE where it just wasn't done well.
If he was booked like that more, my God.
Right.
They would have had something. They had something. That ECW champion Big Show was incredible. Incredible. What a run. And, like, it was always there. They just never pulled the trigger on it. They just didn't want to do it. It was there. They could have kept it going. They didn't. It's too bad. He was the best WWE ECW champion that they ever had. How about that? Take that, Bobby Lashley. Take that, Vince McMahon. Whoever else they gave it to. John Morrison, possibly?
Yes. Yeah, they did actually.
Right?
I know you've had many Big Show moments, like at live events. I'll just remember the one. I think it was the first house show he had here in Montreal. This is like 2000, I'm guessing. And like he parked in the wrong parking lot. He parked in like the public one. And he had to go to the other side.
Oh,
My
man.
friend went up to him to shake his hand, and like his hand like just engulfed my friend's hand. It was so massive. It was incredible.
Yeah.
But he was a really nice guy too. Like Paul White's really cool.
A giant, a true giant of pro wrestling. Yeah, he's awesome. Like, I'm a fan, so it makes you a little sad to see him move around like that, but we'll see. Orange Cassidy beat Claudio Castagnoli this week after a nice little Hurricane Rana roll-up move to retain the international title. Jon Moxley came out after the match, beat the hell out of Orange, and started biting him. At some point, Orange looked dead. Claudio eventually just pulled Moxley off of him, was like, that's enough. We've killed him. And then Moxley cut a promo about Orange taking the title after Moxley had lost it to Rey Fenix. Moxley was supposed to get the rematch, but he wasn't medically cleared. Orange Cassidy got the match instead, took the title. Moxley's mad, doesn't want to be counted out. He says at Full Gear he's going to just kill Orange Cassidy. He's going to take the belt, and he won't just take the belt. He's going to end Orange Cassidy for good. So, should be violent. Should be violent. I'm actually looking forward to the match. I thought their match at All Out was pretty good. I think this could be better.
Yeah.
I thought the promo was good, too, for Moxley. I liked it. Good fire. It was all right. Match was decent, too, with Claudio. It's good stuff.
I felt that they had such a good match. I think it's going to be hard to beat that match, actually.
Yeah, maybe.
I thought that was really well done. So I don't know how you top that, to be honest. I thought that was really the best you could have it, but it could be surprised. Wait and see. Because it won't be the main event, too.
No, the main event will be MJF and Jay White, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It was the main event last time. Yeah, you might be right. Speaking of Jay White pinned MJF in the main event this week of Dynamite. It was the Bullet Club Gold. It was Jay White, Juice Robinson, and the Ass Boys versus MJF and his trio of friends, who he finally settled on as the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass. And MJF wore Acclaimed gear and did Acclaimed stuff, but eventually took the Blade Runner from Jay White and lost. People don't like that MJF took the fall, but
it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes Jay White more dangerous. It makes It makes you think. He hits that Blade Runner, it's over, baby. You know? So I think it's good. It makes Jay White seem like way more of a threat because I think going into the match, no one's buying into it. You got to make people buy into it a little bit. So MJF got pinned by Jay White. I think it's fine. You could have gone another way with it, but I think it makes sense story-wise. And MJF's going to get the win back. He took a pin in a non-title tag team match. It happens. He was distracted by stuff going on outside the ring. After the match, Jay White goes to hit MJF with the title belt, but Max Caster pushes him out of the way and takes the belt shot instead. Caster sacrifices himself, takes a bullet for MJF. And then Caster wants to scissor MJF, do the scissor thing. MJF doesn't want to do it, and then Billy Gunn demanded that he do it, and then they all did the group scissor party thing, and Caster was on his knees and hugged MJF, and MJF had to push him away. I like the Caster MJF thing. They're amusing. They got a funny little thing going on.
Well, I thought this was a much better ending to Dynamite than last week. When last week was just awkward standing there. This actually had something. Wasn't much of anything, but the crowd was into it.
Yeah.
And just them scissoring was a fantastic moment.
Mm-hmm. It was. Because everybody loves the Acclaimed. Everybody. And it's not just a catchphrase. It's true. I don't know anybody who doesn't like the Acclaimed.
I'm sure there's some people. I'm sure there are.
I don't see how you could dislike them. They're so entertaining.
I could just see some people are just not a big fan of like the whole color scheme. I know a lot of people didn't like Bret.
Who doesn't like pink and black? Pink and black works, baby.
If you're not a Bret Hart fan, like I know a lot of people like complain about that because remember when Steve Austin made fun of Bret, like pink tights, what's up with that kind of thing? Like a lot of I knew people like that were like, yeah, pink tights, what's up with that? Like how can you like somebody like that? That was a big thing.
Well, Bret made it look pretty cool, and the Acclaimed are pretty cool, too. And if you don't like Bret Hart, you probably like Shawn Michaels. And you know who was in DX? Billy Gunn. So there you go.
But not with Shawn, though.
Not with Shawn. But they kind of pretend like they were all in the same group. He was in with Shawn in the reunion DX things, right?
Yep. And, like, I guess the reunions when he's not there, too, they just do the part for him, I guess, or Shawn takes the part now.
Yeah. But I think the Acclaimed are great. They're so much fun. Caster's raps, everything Bowens does, the scissoring, scissor me daddy ass's influence on the group, the scissoring, everything they're doing. They're great. The matches are good. They were really good tag team champions. They've maintained the momentum since losing the belts.
Oh, they're trio champions.
Yeah, they're the trios champions. There you go. Like they moved on, more gold. They're great. They're really great. I'm a big fan. I was happy to see MJF with them this week. I thought that was really fun. Angelo Contagonis dropping a super chat. He says, I appreciate the content you put out for us every week. Thank you for all that you do. Well, thank you, Angelo. Thank you. You are the super chat leader of the night, my friend. And I know that you appreciate it because you support the channel. You've been a member for years now, and we appreciate you, Angelo. Thank you to all the members supporting over at join.ringsidereport.net. People like Angelo Contagonis out in Laval. People like Harold Schneider. People like Leor. Leor out in New Brunswick, I believe, right now. Right? Didn't he say he was in Moncton? Moncton, right? Still in Moncton right now? Shout out Moncton.
Is Moncton or Dartmouth, I think?
Dartmouth is Nova Scotia. Moncton is New Brunswick. Did you say Dartmouth? It's Dartmouth, John. A little respect. Bro.
Dartmouth, sorry.
Dartmouth. Shout out to everybody in the Maritimes.
I'm mixing it up. You visit there, didn't you?
I don't think I've been to Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Oh no, then I thought it was mentioned on the show before.
I don't think I've been there. I've been to many places in Nova Scotia, but I don't think I've been there. Well, where is Dartmouth, actually? I maybe have passed through. Let's see. That's right across the... What is that? Right across the harbor from Halifax? You gotta say harbor. You know? I think it's right across the Halifax harbor.
You've clearly been there many times if you're talking like that, I guess.
Well, once you're, right across the harbor there from Halifax is Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. So I may have passed through Dartmouth. Does that make sense? Coming from northern Nova Scotia? Coming from Pictou County? Don't call it Pictou County. It's Pictou County. God damn. People not from there, they don't know. The town is Pictou. The county is Pictou County. Spelled the same way, pronounced differently. If you know, you know. Shout out to
AJ
Pictou
would
County.
love that.
Pictou County, Pictou, Nova Scotia, New Glasgow, Tatamagouche, Sackville, Amherst, all the places. We love you. I love you, Nova Scotia. I will be back to you one day. I don't know when, but it'll happen. My kids have cousins they need to go see, so probably at some point, Family, John. Family out there. Not my family. Oh. Not by blood, but you know what I mean. Her family.
Right, I get you.
Their family.
Extended family.
Yeah. I mean, they're not from my side of the family. I don't have blood in Nova Scotia. They're, the kid's mother and, You understand. You know the story. I don't need to. Let's just say I go to Nova Scotia and I like it. All right? Let's just end it there. Let's end it there.
Yeah, so enjoy Crown Jewel.
Yeah, enjoy Crown Jewel, and I will be on right after Crown Jewel with my brother stepping in for Johnny North. Johnny North is wrestling tomorrow. Tell the people where you're going to be. Maybe somebody's out there in Ontario can check you out.
Well, I'd love to, but apparently I'm a mystery opponent, so I can't because it's supposed to be a mystery.
Okay.
So I am wrestling Ontario. Figure out that show. There's a show in Ontario tomorrow. Figure it out.
Well, we'd love to promote this show, but John is a mystery opponent, so we can't actually reveal where he'll be wrestling. But he'll be wrestling in Ontario tomorrow, and I'm sure there'll be details about it after the fact, which is not that useful for promotion. And nevertheless, if you're anywhere near the Great North and want to see some wrestling in Ontario, hint, hint, Johnny North might be on the show. The Great North Wrestling is always good. There you go.
In the province of Ontario.
I like that Great North Wrestling promotion, John. I don't know if you ever heard of them. Pretty good. Great North Wrestling. Our buddy, the Hannibal. Is he still involved in that?
Yeah, slightly.
Okay. Anyways, Great North Wrestling, good wrestling promotion. You might see some stars like Jeremy Prophet there tomorrow, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. And others who I may know.
Yeah, I think you know one or two.
Yeah, probably. Bjork.
Rene Dupree.
Renee.
Yeah. You remember Renee.
Is Renee wrestling a guy that I'm friends with on Facebook for some reason? I realized I was friends with a guy on Facebook who I don't know.
So you're friends with someone on Facebook you don't know, and he's wrestling Rene Dupree.
Well, sometimes indie wrestlers request my friendship on Facebook, and I don't know who they are.
Well, that's because all the toys you post. That's why. Like, people love your toys.
I don't think that's it. I think it's something else. Because I'm a big name in pro wrestling, John. Local wrestling.
That too. Ringside Report.
Yeah, this guy that maybe they watch the show. This guy that I'm Facebook friends with, I just saw posting he's wrestling Renee tomorrow for Great North Wrestling. Josh Angel. So shout out to you, Josh. I don't know why we're friends on Facebook exactly, although Sometimes you got mutual friends and they're all pro wrestlers, and I see him and I'm like, oh, he's a wrestler. Yeah, sure. Maybe we'll have him on the show in the future, whatever. But I did see that on Facebook tonight, and I was like, oh, this guy is wrestling. He's wrestling Josh Alexander at some point, and he's going to be wrestling Rene Dupree.
He's wrestling a lot of big names.
Yeah. Oh, wait, maybe he's not wrestling Rene Dupree on this show? No, I don't think Rene Dupree is I don't think Josh. Oh no, it says. Yeah. I don't know. On his Facebook, he says he's wrestling Rene Dupree at this show tomorrow. Josh Angel. So if you see him, give him a thumbs up from me, Johnny, if you're there.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So shout out to you, Josh Angel. So. I hope you beat Rene. Although.
Good luck.
Yeah. I would say you probably won't be, just based on what I know about wrestling. But, hey, maybe you're getting a big push and you got some amazing moves. Like, I don't know. But I wish you the best. And I'm glad to have known you. Good luck. Good for you.
He's not going to die, but okay.
No, I'm glad to, be aware of him. Young wrestler in the scene. Good. That's what I mean. Not like Renee's going to kill him. Although, Renee's a beast. Go get him, Renee.
He is a beast.
I like Renee. Yeah. Renee's cool. Rene Dupree, baby. Don't mess with Renee. Shout out to Cafe de Renee, right? Doesn't he have a podcast? Cafe de Renee?
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Nice.
I think he's going to be, what he does usually when he wrestles, he usually streams his matches. So more than likely that match will be on his YouTube, I think, for that.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so maybe I'll watch the Josh Angel match on Cafe de Renee. How about it?
It's a good chance.
I love that name, too. Cafe de Renee. It sounds so very French. Does he speak French? He's from New Brunswick. Yeah, he does, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He's good.
I didn't know.
Well, yeah, you met Sly, but you never met Renee. That's true. I forgot about that.
I have met Sly many times. Sly drove me home one time. It was nice. Gave me a ride home. I was like, thanks, Sly. Sylvain. I know Sylvain spoke French, but like Renee didn't have an accent like Sylvain, and I don't remember him speaking French in the promos. It was a long time ago. La Resistance. Yeah. Cool.
They're back, by the way.
What? They're back?
They're together again. Yeah, they're together again. They're wrestling on the indies now.
Amazing. Sign them, AEW. Right?
I would say, Impact or NWA would, I think. I don't know about AEW would do it.
Whatever. Either way, I'd like to see them on TV. I like those guys.
Yeah, they'd be great.
Yeah.
I agree.
Good guys. Shout out to Sylvain Grenier. Good guy. Shout out Big Sly. I'm sure he's still jacked, right? He must still be in ridiculous shape.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, right?
I imagine, yeah.
Monster.
Well, Renee, too. They're both in great shape.
Yeah. Tip top. Good for them. Good for them, man. Still kicking ass. I love it. There you go. That's it. We're still kicking ass, and I'll be here after Crown Jewel tomorrow afternoon, evening, to review the action, give you the match of the night, give you the score on 10 for the pay-per-view, and break it all down. Once again, right here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope